When I watch any movie for the first time, I prefer to experience it as a total noob. I don't care about hidden details or how did they shot it or what was the blue color symbolizing in that particular scene. Instead, I let the movie speak for itself. And this movie just left me with emptiness. It made me laugh, scared, and completely engaged in some sequences. The tonality of the movie was perfectly balanced between comedy and suspense. But in the end, it made me question my own surroundings. It highlighted how in our everyday lives everything seems normal. Everyone appears ordinary, but even within the most ordinary aspects, evil can lurk unnoticed, blending seamlessly into our lives, often without us even realizing it. But then, my inner cinephile rewatched it and wanted to know how did this director made me feel this way and why they call Memories of Murder great.
I saw on Reddit that some people found this movie disappointing and even silly, saying the detective was stupid and the real story was more engaging than the movie. But that was not the point of the movie at all. Why did you expect the movie to be about some cool detective who will solve the biggest murder mystery? That's not how you should approach a film. It's important not to box yourself into a specific genre before watching a movie. Always remember what Bruce Lee said.
I said, empty your mind. Be water, my friend.
Just to go with the flow of the movie. This movie is not just a murder mystery. It's about the flawed characters and injustice in the society. The detective is superstitious, often forcing confessions and relying on gut feelings. This shows how flawed the system was. When the second detective arrives from the city, he's more practical and doesn't believe in superstitions. We hope that he will crack the case by looking for clues, like the suspect targeting women in red and only on rainy nights, that too with the same song playing on the radio. But then, the killer strikes without rain and without the color red. He killed the last victim because he was confused between two and he chose her for no reason. This shows that the detective's approach isn't flawless either. In the end, he's also just guessing the killer's mindset, much like Detective Park, who did with his intuition. Detective So also tries to find the killer in the school outhouses. But that too was just a guess, and he ends up being wrong. Some people might think that the whole school rumor part was unnecessary, but it actually serves two purposes. First, it shows that the detective So isn't perfect. Second, it helps to build a connection between So and the schoolgirl so that when she is murdered, we also feel the anger with So. And as expected, when the murder happens, So's practicality fades away and he becomes part of the injustice. And when all the clues pointed to the last suspect, yet he wouldn't confess, as the audience we shared Detective So's frustration, convinced that the suspect was guilty and that So should take drastic action. We didn't feel pain for the suspect getting beaten. But then Detective Park arrives and reveals that the DNA didn't match, meaning the suspect was not the killer. However, Detective So couldn't accept that. He was so convinced that he became blinded, much like Detective Park once was, relying on intuition rather than evidence. And in that moment, justice was lost. Because even if he turns out to be the actual killer, but for now we are still unsure. This movie shows us how, as audience, we once laughed at Detective Park when he relied on intuition, but now we share Detective So's frustration and just want to resolve the mystery, even if it means taking drastic action against the last suspect. And this movie doesn't show them as perfect detectives, and also doesn't show the serial killer in typical way. And this was South Korea's first serial murder case. And even Detective So has never faced any case like this in Seoul, like he told in one scene to Detective Park. So in a movie which is based on real events where they never caught the culprit, asking why detectives couldn't solve the case is stupid, because this movie was not about smart detectives. The opening scene begins with a child in a field catching grasshoppers. We then see the vibrant, colorful field. Some kids are following the detective, he jokes with them, and we see the kid hiding his jar, which shows how people in this town don't trust the police. And by all this, the director plants a memory of this place in us. But as we later learn about the murder, it underscores how evil is making harmony with normalcy. This memory becomes profound because in real life, our deepest memories are often born from unexpected events. What we expect and then that happens, that memory fades away easily. And from that point on, the film gradually shifts to a more muted palette, reflecting the somber mood. Because now we are just curious about the killer. Between the opening and closing scene, we realize nothing is normal. The entire town is gripped by fear. Police brutality was normal, confessions are extracted by force, Human rights are violated, the nation is under dictatorship, system is corrupt, students are on protest, women are not safe, even the detective's personal life is impacted. And despite every effort by the detectives, we couldn't find the killer. And the first suspect, who was innocent, got killed in the process. And the detectives were part of the injustice. And as an audience, we were also frustrated and sad. But like Detective Park, we just accept the situation instead of solving it. We change ourselves and try to do something that can make us feel normal and call it a move on. In the ending scene, we see the detective with his family. Time has passed and he enjoys a normal life, and we can see the colors again. And just like the detective, we do move on from what we cannot change and put on a mask of normalcy. Then the detective returns to that same field where he first discovered the initial murder. And as an audience, after watching the whole movie in muted colors and living the detective's life, a sense of nostalgia emerges in us too, and the memories of murder resurface. And we also experience those memories with the detective. Then a girl appears and asks, what is he searching for? She also tells him that another man came here for the same reason, and he told her that he was reminiscing what he did here a while ago. The director then gives us a wide shot of the field, inviting us to question, is everything truly normal? Then the detective asks the girl, how did he look like? And girl replies, he looked ordinary, just like everyone else. And just like the detective, we are also left with questions like, is he as normal as detective himself? Because they both came for memories. Is he living a normal life just like us, normal ordinary people? And we realize, like the detective, we can move on and pretend, but nothing is truly normal. And then comes the most talked scene in cinema history. The detective breaks the fourth wall, looking directly in our eyes. And if you remember, he always asked his suspects to look him in the eye. And now, breaking that barrier, we all are his suspects. He's asking us, are we merely expecting injustice and moving on while the real culprits are living with us? Are we part of the injustice, or are we the killer himself? Because the director also wanted to look into the killer's eyes and expecting that the killer will watch this movie and regret his actions. But unfortunately, in 2019, the police found out a criminal who was already serving a sentence for his sister in law's murder confessed to the very crimes that inspired the film. When asked about the movie, he replied, I just watched it as a movie. I had no feelings or emotions towards it. This movie actually takes us on a journey with these two detectives. How Detective Park changed after realizing the injustice he caused by relying on intuition and torturing suspects. And later in the movie, he stops relying on intuitions and tries to find the actual evidence. And then there is Detective So, who started off as the practical one, but when his logic failed him, he grew frustrated and dismissed the DNA results, and he started to trust his intuition. And remember the third detective, who never changed? He too faced his karma and lost the leg that he used to kick innocents. Even in real life, a suspect was wrongly imprisoned for the murder of a 14-year-old girl, and only after 20 years, when the real killer confessed that he was the killer of that girl too, the innocent man was freed. The man admitted that he had confessed under police torture. This movie doesn't showcase serial killers and psychopaths doing outrageous things like typical Hollywood films. In those movies, you can often spot them by their eerie smiles or wild behavior, but this movie will make you doubt everyone. Like in one scene when Detective Park is pressuring a suspect, we see a random man enters, wearing gloves, goes behind Park and glances back twice, and then just quietly leaves. And through the director's timing and framing of the shot, we are led to suspect him, even though he has no relevance in the movie later on. But the scene just makes us question everyone, that the killer can be anyone. The director even gives us brief glimpses of the killer, making us constantly guess and compare faces throughout the movie. We didn't see the killer, but we felt his presence in every scene. He's not crazy looking, he's just a normal, ordinary guy living with us. He could be anyone.